Click the top one. All right. And if this is live, then what does this do? Mm. Hmm. Oh, okay. All right. I think
You
I
got
got
something?
it. Yeah, so I'll send this link. Yikes, this is horrible. I'm hearing myself. So it's right now it's like a 5 second
Oh no.
delay. it, it it'll be good. It's a 5 second delay, but I currently have it live. Like I have us live, but it's a so but this is good because I'll copy the link.
Oh goodness. I could
Dang,
only
as
imagine hearing myself on a 5 second delay. I wouldn't be able to concentrate.
yeah, I'll be able to close it out once I send the link.
Okay.
Okay. All right, this is gonna work. So um well, at least I hope so. So 1 second. So I sent it to my phone. Now I'm gonna copy the link, send it to the Discord. Okay.
Got it.
All right. I wonder how long I wonder how long we've been live. So people are gonna come back and watch this, be like, "What are these guys doing?"
Well, we've
Okay,
been
no,
live since the echo started.
yeah, I guess that should, yeah. So this is the first 2 minutes have been weird, but okay. But now I know for the future. Sorry about that. Thanks for your patience, Johnny, and everyone
No problem, no
listening.
problem. Thanks for your patience with my headphone situation.
Yeah, the headphone situation. All right, we'll give it like third wait, like 30 seconds here. So if I follow that, I'm gonna follow that link again. That way I can see the chat.
Oh yeah, I won't be able to see the chat.
That's okay. I'll keep it pulled up.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I can tell you in person to put a shirt on today.
Absolute absolutely. Yeah. Well, I guess there's a lot of backlash, including by you last week for not having a shirt on. But hey, uh, I don't own a speedo, so much to the dismay of everybody, um, I won't be wearing a speedo anytime soon. But you know what? I might order one. I'll say that.
Ooh, I'm
But Johnny, where's your swim gear, man? Hey, I brought some goggles. Yeah.
I'm deep diving figuratively. You got the gear going.
Oh man, yeah. No, no, not even swim trunks. No sunscreen or
I could
what?
throw on some swim trunks if you want. I got this sunscreen downstairs. I'm ready to go if you want me to. I just thought
Well,
Money Man was more appropriate because I'm Johnny Football.
oh my gosh. All right. Well, now that we're officially live, do you want to show everybody what you got on? This is ridiculous. Johnny, you're a Mizzou alum wearing a rival A&M shirt. That's
It's
just
Johnny
not.
Football.
I don't know
You
about
gotta
that,
wear the
Johnny. I don't know if there's
blackout
a good
Johnny football
excuse.
jersey.
Yeah, you did draft him, didn't you? You did own
I owned him at one
Enzo?
point.
Yeah, I should probably look that up. I did a lot of research on your team today, Johnny. I'll say that.
It sounds like a Shinwu trade, so that might help you out.
Well, hey, depending on
Sure.
how deep we get, I showed you the other goggles, but I got like the
Oh,
really
here we
big
go.
goggles. Yeah.
Now we're going scuba
So
diving.
yeah, if we're going deep into the ocean, Johnny, which we might get there with your team, then we'll do it. Well, Johnny, all right, everybody, let's do a formal introduction here. So on episode 2 of Deep Divin' with the DCs, we got Jonathan, aka Johnny O, Madden's Ultimate Team, Watson. Welcome to the show, Johnny. It's great to
Thanks
have
for
you
having
on.
me.
No problem. Well, Johnny, when I told a few people around the league that you were coming on the show, there was some excitement. But why don't you tell people what you're up to these days? Because some people don't know. I think. Well, I'll say this, everybody. So, got a big formal congratulations for graduating from Mizzou,
Thank you.
right? And then full time job at Boeing. So, you would tell us a little about that, and then what else do you do in your free time?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get an offer from my past internships. So I hired on full time back in June, and I've been working remotely, so just from home since then. And then free time, I I've picked up an assistant coaching job for Fort Zumwalt South Bulldogs hockey varsity team. So I'm taking on that. And I don't know if I've mentioned this to you, but I think Daniel and I are going to co-head coach the B team as well. So a lot of hockey coming up.
You did not mention that, but that is awesome, and I'm glad you. If you weren't going to say the coaching gig with South, I was going to bring that up. So that's awesome.
Oh,
I
that's my free time.
good deal, and that's great. Being able to coach your former team, former your Bulldog alum, and going back to teach the younglings. How have the practice games been going? I know you had at least one practice game.
Yeah, we played Fort Zumwalt West. Brendan, you can go ahead
Oh,
and mute yourself now if you're on. But I am very sad to say we lost that game 10-1.
Jesus, Johnny, what are you?
Um,
That's
yeah.
is it? It's not coaching, is it, Johnny? I swear to God, if
Uh,
I asked the players if it was bad coaching,
I'm not gonna blame the players, so you can blame the coaches on that one. I'll bite the bullet for the team. But it was not pretty.
Johnny, am I gonna
However, we
have
have a
to?
game tomorrow. We have a game tomorrow at East at Wentzville. So we'll hopefully get this one going in the right column, not the incorrect column. It was
All
bad.
right, Johnny. You know what? All right, Johnny, I believe in you, man. I think you got the team under control. I know they'll
We
be a
have
well
various
coached
skill
team.
levels. We have a lot of defensive skill, a lot of defensive uh, forwards that can know how to put the puck in the net, have some good skill, and a lot of forwards that it's their second year playing ice hockey. So we got a good mix.
That is a very that is a very large mix. Okay, but hey, that's what coaches are for, and I know they're in good hands with you and Daniel, another former teammate of ours, year older. But I think that's a deadly coaching duo, and I don't know too many of the players. I guess I know a few, but um, bright future ahead for the Bulldogs. And by the end of the season, gonna beat West, right? Can't lose to West multiple times in 1 year.
Yeah, hopefully we caught them on a good night and we can come back strong on the next night.
Good deal. Alrighty, good to hear. And then just real quick, it looks like okay. Imagine this, Johnny. So I'm checking the chat, and Brendan already has some comments.
Yeah,
The,
I asked him to mute, so it's all good. He can leave his comments to the West hockey folks. I'm gonna stick to the South hockey.
yeah. Brendan wants to. Okay, I'm gonna read through these real quick. I'll try to do it a
Okay.
couple times. So, Brendan says if there isn't a trade made live on air, then is this even the real Madden's Ultimate Team? So it looks like you got some pressure
Oh,
to
that's fair.
announce a
I'm
trade.
uh I'm definitely in some trade talks right now. I'm sure we can get to more into that later, but I'm definitely in some trade talks with a couple teams searching for a wide receiver. So that's definitely expect things to come there.
Okay, alrighty, good to hear. Yeah, and later if you wanna put some plugs in, you feel free to plug your offers. Who's on the trade block? Use the platform as necessary. Austin says you might be on the hot seat already. And then
Oh
Brendan's
yeah,
no, yeah, we're gonna decline that one. Johnny can't be
I'll read
fired.
that one later, Brendan.
Yeah, Austin said that about you being on the
Oh,
hot seat.
Austin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean it's a fair point considering I'm in charge of the defense.
You're okay, gotcha. So it's Daniel forwards and your defense. Is that how it
Yes,
works?
sir.
Okay, good deal. And then last comment, you know what? I'm not even going to read it. You can read it later if you want, Johnny, but it's from Brendan and it's nothing productive. So we'll
Okay, yeah,
smooth.
that sounds
What?
good.
Bad news. Okay, but you do something else in your free time, maybe once or twice a week. You hit some dingers, Johnny. I've watched you live, being on the same softball team as you. What's your secret? How do you hit home runs? I can't hit one over the fence.
Well, I've only actually hit one over the fence in practice. I haven't actually hit one out during a game yet, so some might say I have warning track power. I'm just saving it for the right time. So maybe next season I can get it going, get the bats rolling. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to get going for year two with the softball team. It'll be fun.
Good deal. Yeah, well, and you had some injury problems you had to overcome, and
Yeah, I missed the
it's a
entire
struggle.
end of that season. I think I played in those two games with the hurt wrist and then decided to rest it. And by the time I was ready to come back, hockey was in the way.
Yep. No, understood. Understood. Well, nice. Yeah, good to hear about you. Your free time, what you're doing with work and school. Because hey, you know what? If we're gonna understand what you do strategically in fantasy football, maybe there's a correlation. We find out stuff about you, like what you do outside of fantasy football, and that helps us connect the dots a little bit. Never know.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, Johnny, I'll start off by asking you this. We're in season 7 now. Let's say like six plus seasons now. Like, what do you think of your team as a whole from season one back in 2014 to now? Like, if you had to sum it up in a few sentences, like how would you describe Madden's Ultimate Team? Your experience in this dynasty league.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think overall my team originally was drafted kind of incorrectly. A lot of us were kind of new to the dynasty realm, and a couple teams did a very good job drafting. A couple teams kind of drafted towards a win now mentality. I think I went two in the middle. So right off the start, I kind of realized that and tried to make some changes. And over the next couple of years from there, I tried to get a good core of running backs to start. And then from there, the search was definitely in terms of quarterbacks. And it seems like once I got that rolling, I we switched to a PPR. So I was lucky enough to already have Julio Jones. I had a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster. So it was nice to have kind of guys that were already in that role of earning receptions a lot. But it was definitely an adjustment for me. So I went from to kind of answer your question. I went from running backs to quarterbacks. Now I'm kind of more focused on those wide receivers. I think those the elite ones can be very valuable.
Absolutely. Well, you have one now in DeAndre Hopkins, who seems like an average week for him is like 15 receptions and 150 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's tough to beat. But if you could get someone to go with DeAndre, yeah, that'd be deadly. And your team's already deadly. I mean, you're putting up like 200 points a week. Seems like so.
I was hoping for
Yeah.
another productive year out of Julio, but needs to get healthy for me.
Yeah, it seems like Calvin Ridley seems to take over that number one role, but wonder how much injuries have to do with that. But I know Matt Ryan and Julio have that connection. I know for Matt Ryan's sake, I'd love to see Julio be 100% and get that connection going again. But nice, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Because I want to start back in 2014. You know, you have the reputation in this league of being a big trade guy. You know, you've made more trades than anyone else in this league. Even though it's been a while, you know, it's been a slow last year or so in terms of trades. But back in 2014, do you remember any of the players from our original draft?
Oh goodness, I don't even think I have an original player that I drafted myself. I think all of the original contracts were obtained from other people. So I definitely lost all my original players back in 2017 or 18 probably.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy to go back and see. So if you check this out, I mean you fielded a roster of Alex Smith and RG3. Now you said you started off running back heavy, and even though these names, you know, looking back, you might have Arian Foster, Eddie Lacy, but they had great seasons. So you're right. I mean, you were the running back guy. Mark Ingram had a good year.
Mark
Joy
Ingram,
Bell,
Eddie Lacy, absolutely.
yeah. Hey, it was good enough for fifth place. You know, you're right there. Um, Even Joy Bell had a good season. It's like you had Roddy White, but it's crazy to see the team you had back when we first started. That's for sure.
That's really cool to look back at that because Roddy White was one of my guys back in the early days, back in redraft leagues transitioning to Dynasty. I still leaned on him a lot and thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of cool to see the progression of receivers in Atlanta. You know, Roddy White had some phenomenal years, and then Julio came in, and um, you kind of saw him overtake the role. But maybe we're seeing another passing of the torch with Julio to Calvin now, but they've always had some studs. 14, were you happy with your original draft? I mean, you had
Like I
Cam
said,
Newton.
yeah, like I said, I wasn't too incredibly happy with how I started out my team, the core that I built. A few teams did their research and got the young guys. Other guys like me decided, oh no, I just need to get the stud running backs and build that young depth core. So guys like Arian Foster, guys like Eddie Lacy, who at the time was a young, good guy with some potential, it just didn't pan out the way I'd wanted.
Yep. Yeah, I gotcha. But here's the thing. So it's interesting to think now. Like when I think of your team, if someone brought up Madden's Ultimate Team, it's like that's an intimidating team. Do not want to mess with him. But Johnny, I have to say, it wasn't always like that. So we saw a fifth place finish in the first season, but then the next two seasons had back to back seventh place finishes in 2015 and 2016. Do you remember those days? I mean, there you kind of had to overcome some obstacles.
Yeah, I kind of realized early on I needed to make a change. So first thing out the gate, I was like, all right, I need a super stud first round pick to help my team out for 2015 season. And I believe I went out and got Kevin White to help that cause. And I don't know if he even got me too many points from starting him. So the next year and a half, 2 years was kind of rough to watch for sure.
Yeah, I tell you what. So let's get into that. So I highlighted some trades. So you made a ton of trades, so it's hard to go through. But I kind of picked some that were very significant leading up to your 2018 championship. Now, a lot of the trades I realized did happen in 2017. You know, made sense. A lot of the significant ones. So the year before you won, but there was one in 2015 at the very end of 2015 on December 29th to be exact that really was the first domino that set it all in motion. Okay, let's take a look. Um, I'll go ahead and see. Nope, that's not the right one. That is also not the right one. Here's the right one. Okay. So we're looking for. All right, here we go. Hopefully everybody can see this. So my dad came in last place. All right, 2015. And then you decided I have to get the first overall pick. And you really shelled out. So what was your plan going into this? I mean, were you set on Ezekiel? So for those of you who don't know, that ends up being Elliott. But why don't you take us through this trade, Johnny?
So, like I said, that was the mindset early on was I need the stud running backs, I need the young core. I kind of whiffed on the original draft. I kind of got to start building that core. And at the time, I think picks were undervalued. I think now, especially the last couple of years, those first round picks have been at a premium and people have been using them right. Early on, picks were kind of undervalued. So I was hoping that at the time I could get good value for that first overall pick. It definitely cost me a little bit more than I was expecting, but I just basically kept adding on to the offer until it was adequate.
Well, here's the thing, Johnny. I don't know if it really did cost you that much. Now, kind of looking back on it, we kind of walked through this here. This when I think of you and your trades, Johnny, I this is kind of vintage you right here, in my opinion. So, I mean, what the heck is? How many good seasons did Crowell, Aiken, or Moncrief have? Not very many.
I
But
definitely traded Crowell at his peak.
hey, and props to you and that's good. Aiken at the time probably was listed as like the number one or two receiver in Baltimore. And Moncrief did have a few good seasons. Now the eighth overall pick, I'd say that's fair, but the problem is do you know who that eighth who ended up being picked with the eighth pick there?
I do not.
Well, let me tell you, Christian Hackenberg. And I know
Oh,
Austin's in
yeah.
this chat, so you're welcome for the bad memory there, Austin. But I think it's very, very fair to say you won this trade, like to
I
say the
can't
least.
disagree with that statement.
Yeah, you really got it. Now I don't know what the exact trade was between my dad and Austin, but um, you got Elliott, who is still on your team, a huge staple of your team even to this day. Um, and you really didn't give up much. I mean, there's nothing significant. Oh, I have it written down too. That other pick, that 23rd overall, is a guy named Leonte Carew. So you could kind of draw out of a hat here and pick like who ended up being the best player out of this list here. But
I could
yeah,
laugh all I want, but my late round wide receiver picks are not the best either.
yeah, we'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, is it fair to say you're happy with Elliott? Do you have any plans to give up Elliott, or are you're gonna keep him
Oh
for
no,
a while longer?
absolutely. He's definitely, like you said, he's the staple of my team. Uh, Outside of the top two quarterbacks, he's probably the next one that's kind of solidified his role on my team for years to come.
Fair enough, and it'll be interesting to see. He gets a lot of touches already, but with Prescott out, maybe he'll increase it even more. So we'll have to see there. Now that was the first domino, kind of got your team rolling, but we have to fast forward to we're actually right at it. May 9th of 2017. Let me make sure everybody can see that. Yeah, we're right there. Okay. We're looking at this trade between you and Shinwoo. Um, this turned out to be they're all significant. All these trades we're going to go over significant, but do you remember this trade and these trade negotiations here, Johnny?
It's pretty small on my screen. I think I remember this one. Can you read off the player names?
Yeah. So you gave up 2017 second overall and Kevin White. And in return, you got a 2018 first round, which is Patrick's, 2017 15th overall, Derrick Henry, DeMarco Murray, and Lamar Miller.
Oh goodness.
Now, this trade in itself um, is significant because of a trade that followed. So there's actually not much going on here, except for the fact that the 2017 second overall. Do you remember who that was?
I don't remember that one either.
It was Corey White or Corey Davis. So you traded Corey Davis and Kevin White, and you got all these assets in return. But here's the thing.
Jeez. I don't even remember. If you asked me probably before yesterday if I ever had Derrick Henry on my team, I think my answer would have been no. I don't know, did I have him for a season or did I just have him in the off season? I think I just had him in that off season.
That very well could be true because that the reason why we had to bring up that trade is for the trade that follows between you and Alex because you used two of those assets you got from Shinwoo, which was Lamar Miller in the 2017 15th overall. And in return, really the only thing significant we need to highlight here is the 2017 10th overall. And please tell me you remember that one, Johnny.
Can't really forget that one.
Absolutely. Now, were you kind of take us through that draft? I mean, did you expect Mahomes to be as good as he was? You know, especially taking. Yeah, I mean, you got him after Trubisky and Watson.
Did I expect him to be good? Absolutely. But did I expect him to be this good? I saw his potential. I knew that he was going to take over the starting job from Smith. I did not know he was going to be elite. And it was funny though because I actually remember wanting to trade up to Ryan because I knew he was going to take Mahomes, and we were negotiating,
Hmm.
and I just don't think we could have taken a deal, so I was just going to settle for Watson, and he went ahead and took Watson. So I was very, very happy with the fact that I got Patrick Mahomes out of that. It's not really the worst consolation prize in the world to draft Deshaun Jackson either, or Deshaun Watson. But
Right.
yeah, it was. I definitely was not expecting him to turn into the player he did. I was expecting him to be a very good quarterback for me, but definitely not a top tier quarterback, especially this early.
For sure. Yeah, like you said, I mean, I think anybody in the league would be happy with Deshaun Watson. So I'm sure Ryan is very pleased with having him rostered right now. But yeah, the fact that he went after Watson and Trubisky is really the main one. But importantly in real life, the Bears messed that one up. But that's okay. We'll let that one slide. And Shinwoo got the bad end of that one. Johnny, I'm eating a brown sugar cinnamon Pop Tart that's frosted. Which um, I have to ask, what is your Pop Tart of choice?
Oof, probably the s'mores. I love the s'mores one.
S'mores. Okay. Um, I don't know, Johnny. All right, I can respect that choice, but here's the deal. I had a debate with someone else in the league. I'm not gonna say who it was. Um, I saw him and he whipped out some Pop Tarts. Okay, and before he opened it, I'm like, "What kind you got?" And he said, "Cherry."
Oh,
And I just about lost my mind, Johnny. All right, what is a cherry Pop Tart? I'd never heard of a cherry Pop Tart. Have you?
just
Have
to
you ever had a cherry
confirm,
Pop Tart?
I do not know who this is. I right before you said that, I was gonna say the only wrong answer to this question is any fruit or like berry-ish flavored Pop Tart. If you're eating a Pop Tart, it's got to be one of those sweet ones, like a chocolate fudge or like a sundae or brown sugar s'mores. Something like that's like a dessert almost. Cherry Pop
Yeah,
Tart. Ugh.
yeah. It
I'm a
was it
big
was dis-
cherry guy. I'm a cherry Coke guy. And
mm,
ugh, to have a cherry Pop Tart,
it was
I
very
don't see the
disappointing to hear.
I don't see the upside of that. Like if you're eating a s'mores Pop Tart, you're gonna be very happy with it. If you're eating a cherry Pop Tart, I don't see the ceiling. It's like it's just not high enough for me. It's very bland.
Yeah. Um. I'm still recovering from. I mean, this happened last week, and I'm still
Oof.
recovering. Like
I don't
I
blame you.
just the idea of a cherry pop tart. I'm happy with my brown sugar cinnamon. Austin agrees with it. He said s'mores and brown sugar cinnamon two elite choices, but Austin does say that cherry pop tarts are um,
Oof.
good take from Austin. Hmm. Okay.
I
Well,
guess
anyway,
saying every kind of Pop Tart is okay as well. Because if you're just a fan of Pop Tarts, you're just a fan of Pop Tarts. I'm not gonna knock you on that one.
sure, that's a good point. Well, when do you eat pop? I mean, is Pop Tart like a breakfast staple for you, or do you eat it for
It's
snack?
an occasional breakfast. I probably wouldn't eat it for a snack ever.
Okay, yeah, good deal, good deal. Alrighty. Well, Johnny, so far kind of covered. So we know how you got Elliott. We know how you got Mahomes. Two big parts of your team and that led you to a championship. Let's here I'm gonna put my goggles on as we get deeper here. Excuse me. Let's see if I can see out of these. You know what? It's gonna have to do. There's a blue tint on the screen, but we're gonna roll with it. All right. What's the next trade we got here that's significant? Oh man. Okay, this is my favorite one. This trade coming up is my favorite one. All right. It's pretty simple too. All right. We're going to go to October.
A simple trade with me.
Well, it's there's not a lot of pieces to it. So, can are you able to see this one between you and Mr. Leo Boydock?
Oh, I think I know this one. Is this the Russell Wilson one?
It is indeed. But here's the weird thing. Okay, so we'll just get this last part out of the way. Um those bottom two pieces was a 2019 fourth round pick that you gave up in exchange for CJ Beathard. Um, those two things are irrelevant. But okay, this trade, Johnny, I don't know if you can remember back to when this trade happened, and even a couple months after this trade happened, there was a lot of outrage for this trade. Do you remember the outrage, and do you know what the outrage was over?
Yeah, I would believe it's about the valuation of Russell Wilson. And if I remember correctly, I was in negotiations for I think it was Ben Roethlisberger. It could have been a different quarterback, but then I asked for the value of Russell Wilson, and when I found that out, I kind of just full sent for Wilson instead of the other quarterback.
Very interesting indeed. Well, I think it's fair to say that Johnny, if you were offered a first round pick for Russell Wilson, I would
Ah,
have to think you say no. Is that
yes,
correct?
and that his contract now is $15 more expensive than it used to be too.
Yeah, yeah. I now here. Okay, now here's why it's my favorite trade though. It's it's easy to write this off as like, wow, Johnny won this trade far and away. You didn't pay nearly enough for Russell Wilson. Okay, even back then. But this isn't a knock on I don't want to criticize the beast. I'd be the first to say I've had some bad trades. But here's the thing. Do you know who that pick ended up being? That pick you traded. Do you know who that
Yes,
ended up being?
I kept track of that one, and that one hurt because I think it was a true win-win situation. That
Yeah,
was Lamar Jackson.
it was, which is really weird. So there's not much that could have happened for the beast to save face, but in hindsight, kind of looking back now, did he get enough value? Could he have gotten more value for Russ? Yes, he should have gotten more value. However, Lamar Jackson, um, some people might take him over Russell Wilson for a dynasty league. Maybe,
especially with the
maybe.
contract considered.
Yeah, exactly. Um, that's highly debatable. I'd say more people take Russ than Lamar. I'll probably pulling that out of my butt, but both good quarterbacks. Um, so that
Absolutely.
I found that really really intriguing. But the point is, Russ is a huge part of your team. Brought you to a championship. Um, and you did that mid season too. It's like in October of 2017, which in 2017 you came in third. So the year before you won. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, let's keep it going here. Oh, I wanted to I had this note written down. Um, before you had uh Lamar, no, before you had Russ and Mahomes. So in 2016, your starters were Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger. So you kind of see that's a big transformation there.
Absolutely. I wasn't expecting Mahomes to be as good as he was from the get go, so that's why I went after Wilson to just solidify that I had one solid quarterback, and turned out to have two, and that's been extremely valuable still to this day for sure, especially this season.
Are they currently 1-2? I mean, they're if they're not 1-2, I mean
Uh,
they're top five.
I believe they're both top five. Wilson, I
Okay,
believe, was one last I checked, but I think there was a couple before Mahomes.
okay. I'd have to think. Josh Allen. Josh Allen had a rough
Mhm.
last week, but he put up huge numbers. Aaron Rodgers probably up there. Dak, but I mean, you can't beat a combo of Mahomes and Russ, which is why you're probably a huge reason why you're putting up 200 points a week here, Johnny. Gee whiz.
Absolutely, that super flex position is definitely a spot that I want filled with somebody that's going to put up max points.
That reminds me. We give a quick segue into this week. Is uh is Flacco gonna start for sure, or is that still up in the air for this upcoming week?
Still up in the air. I'm not sure. I've been kind of switching back and forth. I like to do that throughout the week, just keep myself looking at the app, so I'm not kind of blindsided last minute by certain events leading up to a game time decision.
Um,
I believe
Johnny
at this point Sam Darnold is doubtful, correct?
is okay. If that's good, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, but I hope. Um,
What's up?
I don't know if Darnold is doubtful. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Johnny, here's the thing, man. Um, I don't care what your lineup is. I know you're minus a quarterback, but Johnny, you have to win. You got to win this week. That's all I'm saying. I you
I'll,
may never be invited back to deep diving with the DCs if you don't beat Alex Boydock.
oh, you're saying I do start Joe Flacco.
I would have to think Joe Flacco is going to be better than whoever you would put instead of Flacco. I would have to believe that. Yes.
My, I have a pretty big, I don't know if it's gonna be a debatable topic or whatnot, but I'm going to probably keep Claypool on my practice squad for at least another week, and that's a big decision for me, especially considering he's got a good matchup this week. But hopefully that decision pays off. I have a couple things that I want to consider before activating him off my practice squad, so won't be seeing him against the Green Machine this week.
Okay, Johnny. No, I respect that decision. So that makes sense. He had one good week. Who knows? Maybe it's a fluke. I doubt it's a fluke, but he looks good. But I totally understand that. Um, let him develop. I think you mentioned that in our group chat. But Johnny, can you offer an explanation as to what the heck is going on with the wide receivers in Pittsburgh? I know you talked about
Ah,
Claypool, but gee whiz, man, I just want to I
so
just want to punch a wall when it comes to Steelers receivers.
I feel you. I'm in a work league where it's 10 people in the league, and there's no prize, but the last person, the person that gets last place after the losers bracket, at the end of the year has to take the ACT. So we we I drafted Deontay Johnson, and I've started Deontay Johnson quite a bit, and I'm feeling the pain that you're feeling because he gets hurt quite often at the beginning of games. And last week, having one reception for -2 yards is just not going to cut it. So hopefully he's back to healthy. I need him for that league. I'm sure you could use him in the Dynasty League, but it's just disappointing right now to not know where targets are going. And I'm not sure who the fifth wide receiver on that depth chart is, but I think he had more targets than James Washington did. So he might have leapfrogged James Washington even. So I have no idea what's going on in Pittsburgh. I have no idea how Ben Roethlisberger decides to pick who to throw the ball to because I know Ebron and McDonald also get some targets as well. So it's a mess. It's hard to pick who's gonna have a big game. It's hard to pick who's gonna kind of. I mean, even with Deontay Johnson getting injured, I still thought the majority of the targets were going to be going to Smith-Schuster, Ebron. I didn't think Claypool and I'm trying to remember the return man's name. Do you remember who that was for Pittsburgh? It's like Ray McLeod or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I might just be
Yeah.
making up a name there, but that it's something like that. And he got a couple targets and a couple big plays, so it's kind of hard to predict that situation. It's kind of turning into a New England backfield situation, and as much as I don't want to start any of those players, I still feel I have Waller on bye, so I have to start Ebron, and I can't not start Juju, so I'll have to start both of them. And I feel like if I activated Claypool and started him, I'd just be rolling the dice on the Pittsburgh air attack.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good comparison with the Patriots backfield, and I 100% agree with everything you said. I mean, yeah, having Claypool is interesting when you have Juju. Um, because yeah, I mean, can you really justify starting Claypool right now and not Juju? That seems risky.
Exactly. Especially when I'm starting. I'm kind of forced to start Eric Ebron this week.
Yeah, no, Darren Waller. Yeah, Darren Waller's been a beast, man. So yeah, that'll be a big loss. Uh, Johnny, I don't care what you have to do. If you got to have someone inside Boeing kind of fix the numbers on NFL.com, um, you got to do it. We cannot have Alex beating you. You got to stay undefeated, Johnny, until I play you. I don't know when I play you, but you
If
can take an
people
L
inside
then.
of Boeing knew how to fix some numbers, we would have fixed the max already.
Yeah. Hey, if you know what, if you want to give yourself 300 points, if you can make that happen, go for it.
I'll see what I can do.
All right, cool. Oh man. All right. Well, shoot. Yeah, I'm glad you shared my frustration with having Deontay just sucks. To be quite honest.
And he was
But
my wide receiver one the last few weeks with Kenny Galladay out.
oh, are
So
you
I
are you in
I
danger
had
of?
Kenny Galladay.
Oh, go ahead. Go
What's
ahead.
that? Sorry. Oh, I just was gonna say I had Kenny Galladay, Darius Slayton, and Sterling Shepard and Johnson. So Johnson, Shepard, Slayton, Galladay, and two of them were hurt for a while. So I only had two wide receivers rostered. And Johnson was getting injured all the time, so it was a rough start to the year.
Yeah, well, hopefully getting up there because it's hard to imagine Deontay will be worse, and Galladay's healthy, so that should be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But are you in danger of getting in last? Is that
I am
realistic?
3-2 now. My team has
Oh,
not performed up to where I had wanted. In the draft that we had, I did very well with running backs. I drafted a lot of high upside wide receivers that have kind of been flirting with the injury bugs and low production games. And then quarterback, there were five quarterbacks taken before me.
hmm.
And Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, guys like that were taken right before I had the pick. So I got Cam Newton, who decided to get COVID. So
Hmm.
I'm in need of a quarterback in that league pretty bad, and I think I'm sitting at 3-2, and on the low side of that because of points for.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so I'd have to think Cam Newton gave you some wins in the beginning of the season, but I'd say at 3-2, you're seems like you're safe on track to be safe from taking the ACT. So that's good news. Don't don't have to
Absolutely.
do that again. But hey, if you had to take the ACT, would you score better? Would you get a new high score? You think, or you think it'd be
No,
worse?
no. I've always been okay in math. I've always been okay in English or the language one. But when it comes to reading and science, I'm the slowest reader out there. So I don't think I could even finish now.
I'm I was the same exact way. I my scores were better in math and English, but reading and science were my downfall. Yeah,
Absolutely. Same page.
yeah. Well, we were talking about Deontay and Juju, which is a perfect segue into our final set of trades. Now, Johnny, I'm gonna have to take these off, and unfortunately, I'm gonna. I don't know if I can breathe with these on. Let me try this out. Hmm. Okay.
It's a good
Yeah, I
luck.
can't really breathe. Yeah. Well, Johnny, unfortunately, here's the before I put up the trade. You know how I get a lot of trouble for being a huge contributor to Ryan's team and making a lot of bad trades, and a lot of the big players he has were kind of my fault. But here's the thing, maybe it's not just Ryan, it's you too. I gave you some players. Now, one, I'll just say I'm not gonna go through it, but you got Julio in a trade with me. Now I know he's struggling now, but he was a big help to your team in 2018. But let me find. Yeah, let me find this trade. Now this trade was more recent, actually. Now, and actually, technically, this trade happened after you won.
This was my back-to-back campaign that ended just short.
Correct. Where am I? What am I looking for? I'm in the wrong year. Not even close. Okay. Okay. All right. Can you see that? Okay. Are you able to? You know what I'm
I
referencing?
it's still pretty small on my screen. Shout out some names I could probably read.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. So this trade specifically, I'll say this out loud. So we got DeAndre Hopkins. All right, the 2018 eighth overall, 2018 38th overall for Juju and Mixon. Now, at the time, I think we were both content. Like, what would you say? Like, maybe a week or two or a month after that trade. Like, how content were you with that trade? Like, what were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I I've always been a big fan of Joe Mixon. So Mr. B, I believe, went and got him over the top of me. I don't know how far back my picks were, but I was wanting Mixon from the beginning. So the second he picked him, I think I was on him about trading him to me, and I got him early on. And it's not that he wasn't producing early. I think he was still splitting carries with Gio Bernard. So at the time, he had the potential that he currently is hopefully starting to show after the last week or so. But he still wasn't producing at that high level. And Juju was kind of showing his upside with Antonio Brown taking other defenses top corners. So those two were producing pretty big uh, at the time. Joe Mixon a little less, more potential though. DeAndre Hopkins was somebody that I've been targeting for so long. I watched him in college, thought he was just a beast. So definitely wanted to go target him as well. So I kind of had to give up two guys that I believed in for one guy that I knew could help me try to go back to win another championship. I have
Yeah,
nothing negative to say about any of those players. I love all three of them. I, as you can tell, they're back on my team, so I like them enough to go after them again.
for sure. Well, this is what's weird about this trade. Not like maybe maybe if you're unfamiliar with this trade, like Chris or Kevin, if they're watching, it's like, well, Scott got Juju and Mixon, but they're on your team now. Like, what the heck? But I'll go over that in a second. But I just think it's weird, like giving up Hopkins and a first round pick like that. Think about that now, Johnny. Like if you today were to trade DeAndre Hopkins and a first round pick to somebody, what the heck are you getting in return? I can tell you it's going to be better than Juju and Mixon. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. I'm still in love with Joe Mixon. I think he has such high potential, especially with Joe Burrow once the Bengals can get them a supporting cast. But yeah, I was definitely fortunate enough to get that call from you to say it was a good trade because I had been targeting Hopkins. I knew he was going to be kind of key moving forward. I didn't know he was going to have this good of production in Arizona. I was kind of bummed when he was traded, but Kyler Murray's been feeding him the ball a lot, so he's keeping up that production and then some.
Well, that was a hard trade for me because Hopkins was the last player from my team that was original, I guess. Like I had him in the original draft, so it was tough to part ways with him. Um, I'd have to say, looking at this trade specifically, I'd give you the edge, despite. No, here's the thing: that 2018 eighth overall. Do
Oh,
you remember who
stop!
that
I
was?
I know I know I would. If you want me to go into detail on that one, so first overall pick was I believe if I'm thinking of the right year, it was Saquon Barkley, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Saquon Barkley was first. Sam Darnold was second, and then I believe Penny and Geis were picked sometime in between there as well. So if those were the top four picks, and I had pick eight, I was gonna get a top running back or a top quarterback. Am I thinking of the correct draft here?
You are. Yep, you got it.
Okay. So if those were the top four, I was like, there's Baker Mayfield, there's Lamar Jackson, there's Josh Allen, there's Josh Rosen. I get a quarterback no matter what. And it rolled down to me, and I got Josh Rosen. I'm like, all right, well, it's definitely not the preferred one. It was definitely my fourth ranked, but I still get an elite quarterback. And I passed up Nick Chubb, I passed up Calvin Ridley, I passed up so many guys. I think Ridley was that draft. That I just yeah, I definitely kicked myself for that one. If I made the right choice by kind of passing on Rosen and not going with the quarterback just because he's a quarterback, I could have got some good value at that spot after I think that was going to be the fourth quarterback taken or fifth quarterback taken. So I would have got definitely some good value at pick eight with the only the third non-quarterback or fourth.
Yeah, so you're right. Fifth, one, Darnold, Mayfield, Jackson, Allen. So yeah, Rosen was the fifth. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I was
interesting.
shocked once those four quarterbacks were still available, and I was the fourth pick at the time, and I was like, all right, I definitely have either Mayfield, Josh Allen, Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or Josh Rosen, and of course it comes to me, and I get Josh Rosen, but it's all good. I definitely have made some interesting first round decisions, taking Paxton Lynch and Josh Rosen and Kevin White to go along with that with Josh Doctson. But the couple that I've hit on have been good enough to make up for it.
I think it's fair to say, despite your Paxton Lynch and Josh Rosen picks, you got Mahomes, so that kind of trumps everything. That trumps all the failures there. But
I
no,
can't keep
that's
wasting them. I got to figure it out.
no that's good. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that briefly in a second. Um, but okay, before we go back to that trade, we have an unfortunate comment coming in that
Oh,
I should read off. Well, actually, I shouldn't read it off because it's not good for you or me. But
I'm
uh,
okay with it.
we have I'll read it word for word. It says Kamish checking in. Madden's Ultimate Team. I hope you are hungry because I'm going to deliver you a big tasty L sandwich in week 7 and 9. Do you wanna respond to that real quick?
I'm just gonna let my team do the talking. I'm the coach. I don't have anything to prove. I let my players prove it on the field.
Johnny, that is an amazing response because okay, I know I'm kind of going all over the place here, but I was going to save this question for the end, and I think you'll catch my drift here soon. So, Johnny, that is an unbelievable response. So you said you're going to let your team do talking. There's no chirping back at Ryan. Did you happen to catch a Monday Night Commish 2 days ago?
So I did not. I was at hockey practice, and I tried to
Hmm.
find it on YouTube, and it wasn't showing up. I might have to go through the Discord link and see if it works that way, but I was not able to watch it live.
Well, there's a lot that I'd encourage you to watch it. It's actually good for your team. First off, the Beast have you ranked number one, and projected to win. Just all great news and stuff. But the show started off by Rye Bread and the Beast just kind of touting themselves. It's like, hey, we got 4 of the 6 championships here, talking to each other. Haha, we're super cool. We got all these trophies, and Ryan comes across, he might come across as a humble guy at first, but I don't know, man. He's kind of like he has those subtle jabs. If you forget his team is good, he's gonna remind you. He's not gonna let you forget. And then the Beast, they're a lot more extroverted. I'd say, they had the 2-time brew beer they made, and they were had the trophy in the background. So Johnny, I just wanted to give you a shout out at some point during this, and they're doing it now. Um, you and Austin are my favorite champions because you know what? You just do your thing, man. You do your thing. You go about it the right way, and I appreciate that. So thanks for not being a big bozo like Rye Bread and the Beast.
I have no comment towards that, but I know Madden's Ultimate Team wins the championship and gets ready for the next one.
Hey, I like to hear. I like that mentality. You keep working hard. That's good. All right. Anyway, back to this trade here. Okay, so we just talked about the first half of this trade, but what's weird about it? All right, there we go. What's weird about it is I gave you Juju and Mixon back. All right, so I kind of broke this down, so I'm going to read this off. So essentially, if you combine the two trades into one, this is what ends up happening. I give you DeAndre Hopkins, Josh Rosen, Juju, Mixon, and Ryan Tannehill, as it turns out, because Ryan Tannehill was a part of that second trade we made. You know what? I'm just gonna pull it up real quick. Let's see. Okay,
I'm
and
still
then
upset about I'm still upset about Chris taking Ryan Tannehill from me. I did not see that coming.
I guess there's. I guess. Wait, could you have done something? Could you have? You could have protected Tannehill or no? What was our max? Two or
Well,
three?
he he took Le'Veon Bell and he took Le'Veon Bell and I protected Julio Jones. So I kind of had to take Julio there. I feel like
Hmm.
taking protecting Tannehill would have been a better long term, but I definitely wanted to have that Julio Jones wide receiver too for this year going into the year. So that's why I made that decision, and I should have went with Tannehill. I think that was the better long term decision.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we both could say we messed up because, um, I mean, Tannehill would be good on your team. If you could start Tannehill this week, that'd be good. He had a good season last year once he got the starting job, and he's looked good this season. Um, I did not get nearly enough for him, but I guess in my defense, like he wasn't a. I don't think he was a starter yet. No,
I
he
believe that was the second or third week that he was starting. He definitely didn't have the long-term starting job at the time. He was just a
okay.
spot starter at the time.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, but so yeah, overall, yeah. So you have Hopkins, Rosen, Juju, Mixon, and Tannehill, and in return, I get James Conner, Miles Boykin, who, as the weeks
That
pass, I don't know about
I like
Boykin.
him so much. He's buried on that depth chart, but I like him so much. He's a very skilled player. He just needs to find a new home.
I agree. I was talking to the Vegas Koalas about Boykin in a trade, and I think we're kind of saying if Boykin was on a different team than Baltimore, I think he would shine a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Um, Lamar's just doesn't throw enough, and Boykin's overshadowed by Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews. Um,
I I think I touched on it with another league member recently, but Baltimore's defense is just too good for Lamar Jackson to be putting up any sort of points right now, especially two wide receivers. So those wide receivers are definitely going to be hurt as long as that defense is doing well.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if your defense doesn't let up anything, you don't really have to score that many points. That's good. Um, but yeah, okay. So James Conner, good. I'm glad I have him. Uh, Boykin, bad. Deontay Johnson, I want to bang my head against a wall. And then the
He'll turn
last,
out. He'll turn out.
I hope so. I mean, look, I said that Deontay would have a better season than Juju, which could actually it could happen, but
It still could happen.
it could. And Juju, but I mean, the reason why I asked about the Steelers is, I mean, Juju or Deontay, they both haven't really lived up to expectations. To be quite honest with you, this season, I think Juju should be better. And then the final thing, that 2020 second rounder, I ended up picking T Higgins out of that. So I'm high on T Higgins. I think he'll be good. But it's fair to say, Johnny, I think you took the W on this trade. Um, as of now, anyway.
I think Deontay Johnson could be a star still. Even with the emergence of Claypool, I still think a lot of targets per game are going to Johnson when he's healthy. I could see 8 to 12 being consistent for Deontay in games that they need to be passing the ball around. So I
Mhm.
feel like Johnson's floor is being pushed right now because of injuries, but his ceiling is just as high as it was.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Um, I agree. So we'll say that because you have Hopkins, it's hard to go against Hopkins. So right now,
Absolutely.
I think you're a clear cut winner. However, there is potential for me to make up some ground if Deontay could improve. I think T Higgins will have a great career. Um, I think we know what we get in Connor, which is serviceable if he could just stay healthy and keep doing his thing. And then Miles Boykin's a huge question mark, but we'll see what happens there. Um, but yeah, Johnny. So just to kind of recap here, we started off with how you got Elliot. That was the first big piece that um, kind of catapulted you towards a better finish from these seventh place finishes, and kind of explain how you got Mahomes and Russ and Julio, Hopkins, Mixon, Juju. It's kind of interesting to see, how all those pieces fall into plays through trade and through draft. But you've built yourself a monster team that's been successful for this will be the fourth straight year now. You had a third place, a first place, and you second last? Were you second last year?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, and you know I'd say the Vegas odds have you winning it all this year, but like worst case scenario, third place. But you know that'll be four years of top three finishes for you. So that's impressive. But it begs the question, Johnny, how much longer can this go?
That's a
When
fair question.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit? You don't have to give all your secrets away, but I know you're trying to trade Julio. But what's kind of the next off season or a couple off seasons look like for you? Expect yourself to be top three for a couple more years, or what?
So with the changes in salary cap, it's definitely a big hit to kind of stacking your starters instead of going for depth. So that's one thing. Kind of looking at future years, I was kind of optimistically overlooking. Um, I think going into the future, if I hold tight onto my top two quarterbacks, my top two running backs, I hold on tight to Hopkins and kind of fill in the gaps as needed. As long as I hit on a couple draft picks here and there, they don't even have to be the first round picks. I feel like I can put together a solid squad year after year. I don't think too much changes in terms of strategy from here on out. I just probably have to add some depth guys pretty low in 2 years from now, and I feel like I'm in pretty good shape.
Okay,
To answer your question, going into next year, 2021 season and the 2022 season, I don't see too much of my team, too much of the core changing. I'm not looking to get rid of any of the core players anytime soon.
fair enough. Okay, that's good to know. So, sounds like you'll be at the top of the league for at least a little while longer, and as long as your QB stay healthy. I mean, that's just it, though, right? I mean, I think we've learned from the champions in the past. If you look at the QBs of every team that's won, you're just looking at elite quarterbacks that had elite seasons. Um, so nobody can really compete with Mahomes and Russ. Um, if Lamar was having a better season, maybe Breeze is getting old. Ryan might be the only other one to compete with that. Your team's looking good, especially with Mahomes at a nice salary. Um,
Uh,
but Johnny,
Absolutely.
but the league is wondering that you've made 40 trades in the history of this league, but you've really trailed off lately. I mean, when are we gonna see some more trades? I know you're gonna keep the core of your team, but when's the next trade happening?
So if you watch those videos of or stories of the guys that have like a pin or like just something really absurdly low value and they trade up to a Tesla, I feel like that's what I was trying to do just frantically at the beginning. I took guys like Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger and Arian Foster, Lamar Miller, and I was like, all right, you guys got to go. I feel like early on it was just all about flipping. If I could, in a sense, in my own head, win a trade, and I'm gonna pull the trigger because the second that trade's gone, then I'm on to the next one. And once I kind of got that sense of okay, here's my running back one, here's my running back two, I kind of fell into two QB1s that kind of went into my QB1 and two spot because of how Mahomes developed pretty quickly. Um, but finding wide receivers in a PPR can be a little tricky, knowing where the target shares are going. But having a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, having a guy like Julio Jones, even back a couple of years when it wasn't PPR, it was kind of easy to kind of figure out. All right, here's my team. I'm going to stick with it. If I can make a couple of depth adds, I'm going to do it. If not, this is my team. So to
Hmm.
answer your question early on, it was all about flipping until I was comfortable because at first I was not happy with the way my team was. Now it's to the point where I couldn't see my team without a guy like Zeke or a guy like Mahomes, Wilson. Without those guys, it's not Madden's ultimate team at all.
Sure. No, I understood. And that's good you kind of brought that up, kind of looking at the overall picture. So we learned last week with Alex, um, you and Alex really different paths because with Alex, he's drafted more than anybody else in the league. Um, Not too many significant trades, especially compared to you. But he really got some key players through free agency, in waiver wire pickups in the draft. One thing that he regrets is not hanging on to some of his draft picks long enough. There were some guys that he drafted and ended up having to drop out of necessity for roster spots, but those players ended up going on to be successful. But hopefully that helps with Taxi Squad. But for you, you're really the trade master. I mean, you built your team through trade, um, which includes trading draft picks. You know, you got Mahomes through draft, you got Zeke through draft, but um, those were really not like um, your picks. You know, specifically, you really built your team. I like that comparison you made with the cars. You know, getting up to a Tesla. So it's really good, really cool to see the contrast and how teams are developed, you know, especially between you and Alex. So um, yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. I know it's been a while since you've had some significant draft picks, but it looks like you got your picks. Are your picks for trading? Do you want to keep your first and second round next year?
The picks are definitely for trade, but it would be nice to have a first round pick for the first time in 3 years.
Yeah,
I think
understood.
my last two first round picks, I believe, were Josh Rosen and Pat Mahomes. So I definitely need some redemption off of the Josh Rosen one.
For sure. No, that's good. Is there anybody? Is there anybody else other than Julio that you're looking? Who else is on the trade block besides Julio?
Um, Anyone could be potentially for trade. Like I said, those top two guys, quarterback, running back, even at wide receiver with Juju and DeAndre, it's hard to touch those guys. So I try to stay away from throwing those guys up for grabs. Anyone's technically available for trade, um, but if I could make a couple depth trades, absolutely. If I could make it, I'm never going to say no. If there's a superstar out there, I I could make a bid on. Absolutely, I'm going to go for it. If that includes a first round pick or a core player, I definitely have to consider it if it's an upgrade. I think the Blues are a prime example of that with letting go of Petrangelo, not signing him to the contract that he was after.
Oof, oof. Okay, you know what? All right, oh
I
man.
I I think it was an upgrade. They did what was best for the team.
Oh, okay. Oh, I took that the wrong way. So you're happy with what the
Oh yeah,
Blues did?
uh, absolutely, absolutely. It
Okay,
hurts to get rid of a core player like that, but if it's an upgrade for the team, absolutely.
I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. I 100% agree. I'm happy. I think what Armstrong did was genius. Um, I wish uh, Krug. I think I told this to Brendan. Could be more productive than Petrangelo the rest of their careers, and you're paying him
Absolutely.
a couple million less. So I think the Blues did the right thing.
Absolutely.
Hey, as a Penguin, oh man, all right. La- hey, you know what? The last segment was those like rapid fire questions. I don't know if you listened to Alex's thing to completion last week, but real quick, um, as a Pittsburgh Penguin fan, are you happy with trading Matt Murray? Are you comfortable with Tristan Yari and net?
Am I comfortable? No. But it comes down to what's best for the team. I'm not comfortable whatsoever, though. I don't have the trust that the front office does.
Are you a Matt Murray fan?
I'm a Marc-Andre Fleury fan. I'm loyal to Fleury, so I wasn't really on board with the Matt Murray train, but I definitely feel like he had the seniority, he had the trust of the Pittsburgh fan base, especially me. So it's kind of odd seeing the guy that they shipped Fleury out for to go as well.
Yeah. Well, you and Austin, I talked to Austin through text a little bit yesterday. Um, I say this. So there's one guy I work with at the Recplex he's a Penguins fan primarily, but he doesn't. I don't. I would say he doesn't know as much hockey as you are, Austin. Um, so he's a Penguins fan, and he hates Matt Murray. Okay, he is so happy he's gone. But I'm like, his name is Brett. I'm like, Brett, look, man, I don't know if you can hate Matt Murray. He did win you 2 cups. Like, I don't know. You get it. Maybe you could be happy Penguins traded him at the right time, but I don't know. I feel like he was being a little ungrateful for what Murray was bad at any point. Maybe last season he was a little below average, but I like Matt Murray, and I'm intrigued of how he'll do in Ottawa. But
Absolutely.
yeah, all right, Johnny. So let me see here. Okay, I have two really juicy questions for you. All right.
I'm ready.
Okay. So if you had to compare your dynasty team to a professional franchise in any sport, what team would you compare yourself to?
Oh, I just lost my headphones. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Were
Perfect.
you able
I
to
just
hear the
lost the
question?
headphone. Yes, I was.
Okay, cool.
That's a tough one. I mean, maybe the Yankees. We don't have the championships to back it up, but the team that I would say we are is probably the Yankees with the amount of movement that goes on, the amount of star players with kind of minimal depth. I would definitely say the Yankees on that one.
That's a good comparison. I like that. Yeah, in terms of roster construction, for sure. Because they don't really build from within a lot, and um yeah, lot of big free agent signings. I guess equivalent to trades. Um, that's
Absolutely.
cool.
That,
I
that's the,
like it.
that was what I was going for there, but I can't think of too many other teams that would fit the description of the team that I have. There aren't many guys on my squad that are kind of like the hometown heroes. There aren't any guys that are the guys that I drafted and they've been a staple to my team for the last 6 years. It's just a lot of moving pieces, a lot of guys that are here to kind of fill the void I needed and kind of produce at whatever level I wanted them to. It's a lot of Yankees style. I signed you here. You're going to play right field. You're going to bat eighth. That's what I need you for.
Harrison, I like your answer a lot better than mine. When I thought about this, Johnny. I was gonna give you the Blues. Um, actually,
The Blues.
Yeah, and my logic was so the Blues. It's probably fair to say they wouldn't have won without Ryan O'Reilly or Braden Shen. Those were like two big free agent signings. So my logic was, you've made many significant trades, or they weren't free agents, big trades, right? They were O'Reilly and
Yeah.
Shen were big trades, and similar to you made some massive trades. However, you did draft Mahomes, you did draft Elliott. Um, Even though you traded for those picks, we consider those guys homegrown because you drafted them, and the Blues had absolutely have their fair share uh, of homegrown people, and outside of in terms of like reputation, I guess the Blues are a well respected organization. Um, you're a very well respected organization. Um, so yeah, that was my logic. But I like the Yankees a lot better. I really do
No,
because they.
thank you for the compliment of the well-respected organization. That's what we try to strive for, absolutely. But I think a funny kind of reason why it would be the Blues is because then I could have like Tarasenko and Jaden Schwartz and kind of guys like that be the Mahomes and the Elliott, and Juju Smith-Schuster can be my Perron. Trade them and get them right back.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Yeah. Juju's Perron.
I
I
think
like that.
Blues work. Blues work.
Well, Johnny, you have to trade Juju again and then get him back for a third
No,
time.
I will not be trading Juju right now. He will be traded as of right now. He is going to stick on my team until he decides whether or not he's going to be good or bad. If he's good, then I'm just going to keep him for the rest of the season. He can be available maybe at the end of the season. If he's bad, then I don't see too many people wanting him, so I might as well keep him then too.
All right. Hey, fair enough. I like it. I respect that. Because I was thinking, um, I kind of had this. Is what I thought. The Beast are kind of like a LeBron James led team, especially like outside. With the media. Like I just feel like the Beasts have maybe a little extra with the media at times. Um, really like to put themselves out there. So that's how I had the Beast, and then with Rye Bread, uh, I think he wants to be like a Toronto Raptors of last season. Just fly under the radar. But I don't know. I consider him the Astros minus the cheat. So like the all the I like to think of him as the Astros because I'm not accusing Ryan of cheating ever, but I don't know. There's just he just seems like that enemy. Nobody likes Ryan. I don't know, or maybe people do,
I
but I
think a
consider him the
better
Astros.
comparison would be the Blackhawks then, because no one likes the Blackhawks, and they somehow find a way to win championships too.
That's okay. I like that a lot better, John. All right, yeah, you're coming in clutch with these comparisons. I think the Blackhawks would be a really good comparison. You're right. They
Everyone's
win,
gonna
but
find a way to win.
yeah, yeah, no, that's fair. I like it. All right, Johnny. Next, all right, two more. These are too much. Two more quicker questions. Okay,
Okay.
if you were stranded on an island with one person from the Dynasty League,
From
owners,
like as an owner, okay.
yeah, owners, who would you want to be stranded with, and why?
I mean, if I have to say anything other than P-Bay, I'd be lying. That's my answer is P-Bay.
Patrick with the shout out. I like it. I like it. That's what's up, Patrick. I hope you're listening, man. I hope you're doing well. You'll be a guest on here soon if you want. That's what's up. That's a good answer. All
Hope you
right.
had a good birthday weekend.
Yeah. Wait. What's that?
I said I hope you had a good birthday weekend.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we gotta celebrate with Patrick soon. Patrick, if you're listening,
That's
man, you get a birthday beer some point soon.
absolutely
We gotta get together. Where though? So here's the final question that I had for you, Johnny, is what's your
okay.
go-to restaurant right now? Where
I
would you
haven't
want to
been
get a
going to
beer
too
with
many
Patrick?
restaurants at the moment. Oh,
Okay.
either Bar Louie or what's the one that we go to all the time? Llewellyn's. So either Llewellyn's or Bar Louie because I can get a Guinness and sit outside on the patio and enjoy it. That's my go-to answer right there.
That's what's up. I like it. Johnny, solid answers for everything. I like
Thank
it.
you, thank you.
Well, Johnny, that's all I had for you. But I'm gonna just real quick check the comments, see if there's anything significant. Um, not to
Now
say,
that's at the end. Now that's at the end. I think I could take some Brendan questions if you had any about some West hockey.
well, they weren't questions; they were just dumb comments. I think
Just
is what it was.
statements. I can have a response. He can't respond to my response in time.
Yeah, true. Okay. Um. Okay, so yeah, that comment I was referring to that I didn't read was South losing to West. At least 2020 got something right. Is what he said.
I mean, is it a pattern from the past? Sure. Is it something that's got to change from 2020 moving on into the next year? Absolutely.
I like it. S
I
okay.
can't comment on the past too much, but I can definitely tell you 2020's got to change.
It will. Hey, I have no doubt it. I have no doubt it will. The next time they play West, you got to let me know, Johnny. I plan on coming to watch
Well,
some games.
it technically could be next Thursday because we're playing in these games are the Zoom World Cup right now. So if we win
Oh,
if we win tomorrow and East lost to West, then I'm pretty sure that we would be playing West in the championship.
that's what's up. What time do you play tomorrow?
I'll look that up. The last one was at 7:10, so I'm thinking it's at a similar time. I think it's actually during West's practice ice time. So I believe it's at 7:10. I can get back to the Dynasty group chat that we have going, and I'll put the time in there in case anyone wants to go out and watch a South versus East game. And uh, Brendan, I know you're far away, but maybe I can have someone live stream it for you if we make it to the championship next week.
I like it. That sounds like a Lindenwood game. I'm guessing at Lindenwood.
It's yep, all at Lindenwood.
Oh man, worst ranking.
Yep.
Got to go with the Recplex. Johnny, hey, I don't know who books your ice, but maybe I have connections at the Recplex, as you know, so maybe I could
Oh,
hook you guys up with some discounted ice.
that would be awesome. We have two ice times already at Recplex, and we're looking for a. I think we might be looking for a third every week.
Oh man,
If you're
okay,
if you're for real,
yeah, dude, I'll tell Kenny's my boss. I'll tell him to give South discount. Sheesh.
we uh we practice Sunday nights at 8 o'clock and Monday nights at 8:15. If you're ever around the
Okay,
Recplex at those times,
yeah, the chance
but but the, yeah,
oh go. I was gonna say I generally work in the mornings, like
okay,
95% of the time. So
yeah, and
yeah.
the Monday ones at the North Rink.
And okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Very good. Um, got a that's nice content tonight. Gang. Thanks, Austin. All right, yeah, or Brendan. Sorry, Brendan says nice content tonight, gang. But he's got to bounce. He does
Yeah.
not like
Thank you,
Guinness.
Brendan.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for the shout out, Brendan. But Brendan does not like Guinness, Johnny. So you know,
Oh, that's okay. There's more for me.
absolutely. Okay, yeah, that's it. There's Penguins comments from Austin and Brendan, but
Okay.
all good. Yeah, Johnny, that's all I got for you. Thank you very much for being on deep diving with the DCs.
No problem. Thank you. Maybe later on in the season, maybe towards playoffs and beyond, once everyone's had a time to cycle through, maybe I could have a reverse role and kind of go over your team a little bit.
Hey, that's what's up. Yeah, so kind of, all my agents and production crew and all the important people of the Dynasty Champions, kind of facing an existential crisis because we realize like, once everybody's on this show, those shows you can have a guest a second time, but I don't really think it'd work like that. So either new content, because the thing with Monday Night Commish, um, is it's a recap and a preview, so that can work for guests multiple times in multiple seasons, and so that's good. But yeah, we'll have to figure out some like original content and stuff. But yeah, the Dynasty Champions would be open to discussing our all of our amazing secrets that I know everybody in the league is very interested in hearing.
Oh, absolutely. I got some ideas for future deep dives if you want. I can give those to you later too.
Okay, that's good to hear. I also want to make it known. So I know you didn't listen to Monday Night Commish this past Monday. Now, there might be some people tuning into this that are awaiting a response. Maybe they tuned in just to hear me rant about something. But you know what? I'm gonna take the high road. I'm tired of just gonna say I'm tired of the disrespect Dynasty champions get. Very disappointed in the Beasts and Rybread and the other guests that have been on the show and the way they've spoken about the Dynasty champions. We're not going to fire back. Not going to criticize anybody. Kind of taking a page out of your playbook, Johnny, and just kind of gotta let my team do the talking and just keep going.
Absolutely.
Well, cool. Alrighty, Johnny. Have an awesome night and best of luck this upcoming weekend, Johnny. You better win. Better win.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and best of luck to Dynasty Champions going forward this season.
Awesome. Thank you. Alrighty, Johnny. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you.
Thank you. See you, Scotty.